Hi all, happy to meet you all with an excellent puzzle composed by Alexei Tetrotsky. Alexei Tetrotsky lived in 19th and 20th century. He is a very famous chess puzzle composer. He won multiple awards and his puzzles are highly interesting. Those who want to solve this question, you can pause the video and give a try. Congratulations, those who found the answer. Uh, Before making any move, let's analyze the position. Both the sides are having one minor piece, and white is holding two of the pawns, and black is having three pawns. But black is having a problem because bishop at b7, his bishop at b7 is sitting ideal because the diagonal is closed up, and it is not having much of the scope. But this knight can easily jump into center of the board, and which is a major advantage for black, and also it is controlling multiple squares in the board currently. More than a bishop, it is highly active and dominating the board. Right now the key move for white is right now the key move for the white is pushing the pawn into a5, and this pawn indirectly will give a warning to white, hey, I'm getting promoted and you are out of the triangle. So after making the pawn move, this pawn must be stopped. So black is not having much of the plans. One plan is bishop can get into g7 square, sorry, g8 square and then d5, but by the time it reaches d5, knight will easily capture it, and after capturing the knight, this pawn is unstoppable for getting promotion. So so king is the only option right now. uh, so king will play king d6, trying to capture this pawn. White will not fear and promote further. And after playing king c6, right now white must take the decision, uh, for saving this pawn. The excellent winning idea for white right now is directly jumping in front of the enemy, knight d5. So this way the immediate problem got solved, because b6 square is controlled by knight right now, and then b7 square is as well controlled by black pawn, sorry, white pawn, and c7 square is also controlled by knight. So the formation is created between the pawn and king, and the black idea of capturing the knight will not work out. After capturing the knight, the king is out of the triangle and this pawn is unstoppable. So this knight is safely sitting at the d5 square, and black don't have much of the option. Moving away the king will getting out of the triangle, and the c7 pawn is blocked, and this g7 pawn will do nothing. By making the move, it will even add up the blocker for bishop diagonal. So there is only two better possibilities for black. One is moving the pawn, which will give up the black white king will directly capture the pawn. Another one is bishop h7. By playing bishop g8, by playing bishop g8, white is having an excellent idea of creating a fork and capturing it. So this bishop g8 idea will not work out. So black will give up the pawn. That way black will open up the diagonal, and for white it is a straight away idea of capturing the pawn. And right now again the same position remains in the board, and black is forced to make any of the move, and moving the pawn will block the bishop as well. If black is trying g5, then king will capture it. Bishop needs to take any move. Even though the complete diagonal is open, there is not very limited squares are safe for bishop. Let's see one by one. If bishop is playing bishop g6, then this square is controlled by knight indirectly because the fork is available. So moving the bishop into g6 is not a good idea, and this f5 and e4 squares are already controlled by white. So remaining squares are d3 c2 b1. But let's see one by one what are the problems in with these squares. um, Actually, C2 and D3 squares are indirectly controlled by knight. The reason is if black is playing D3 or C2, then white knight will jump into B4 square and give a fork. So this D3 C2 squares as well controlled by white. So black don't have much of the option, forced to play bishop b1. After playing bishop b1, black bishop cannot escape via a2 as well. The reason is still white knight is keeping an eye on for, jumping into b4 and giving a fork. So this square is indirectly controlled by knight, and there is no possibility of escaping. So right now, all only these two squares are available. By keeping that in mind, white will play king e5. So right now, white's idea is promoting the pawn. So that is the major reason it is moving out of the pawn's way. And if black is playing a dummy move like g6, which will eventually block the bishop's only available square, that is h7. So it is not a good idea. So let's consider the option of g5. After playing g5, it's pretty easy to jump into king f6 and capture this pawn. If a pawn is getting further promoted, then it is uh, easy to capture it, and white will be winning. So without any good options, black will be in a zugzwang and will play bishop h7, and white will promote the pawn further, and then black will come back to b1 and white will promote the pawn further. So right now there is no good moves for black, and the zugzwang finally ended favorable for white. Uh, White must capture the pawn or make any move with the pawn. If black is playing g6 or g5, then white will simply push the pawn further, and white will try to promote the f pawn. And controlling, capturing the f file pawn is not a good idea because b6 is the only available square to jump in to stop the pawn to get promoted. After playing bishop g6, white will immediately play knight e7. That way, the fork will be achieved, and after this bishop fallen, this pawn will get promoted, and the white will win the game. Thanks for watching this video.